Good afternoon and good evening. We have today a worldwide audience in different time zones. And I have the honor and privilege of introducing three speakers who I know personally, who I admire greatly. Each one of them has achieved a lot, both individually as well as built institutions that have that are on, not just having a great impact right now, but will continue to have impact in the future. The first of these three speakers is Sayyid Babar Ali Saab. Sayyid Babar Ali Saab is not just a human, is not just a person, he is an institution, right? And I have personally had the honor and the privilege and the pleasure of being mentored by him. There is so much to say about him, but I'll try to keep it short. Sayyid Babar Ali is a graduate of Michigan University. He has not only set up great institutions of business, he also created the finest school in all of Pakistan, one of the best universities in all of Pakistan, which is the Lahore University of Management Sciences. Started as a school for business and has been adding more schools, more disciplines as the journey continued. It's been almost 25 years. Baba Sahib will tell us more about it. The latest is the School of Education, in which Baba Sahib and his family have made a very generous endowment. Baba Sahib, I also know that he had set up the Ali Institute way back in the 60s and early 70s, where teacher training was carried out. So he's always had a very close relationship with education, with learning, with developing young people. And there is so much to talk about. So I'm going to hand over the floor to Babar Saab, and he will take us through his journey, which is one hell of a journey, if I may say so. Babar Saab, over to you.
Thank you very much. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I feel very humbled by this very generous introduction by Faisal. But I'm privileged to talk to this August gathering of TiE Global Summit. Let me first narrate to you my own contact with TiE in the United States. I was visiting Palo Alto some 20 years, more than 20 years ago, and I had the privilege at that time to be introduced to Mr. Kamal Rekhi and Mr. Agarwal. They both, we met for breakfast, and they were very keen that TiE should have, that we should set up TiE in Pakistan. And I took the initiative, and I took the responsibility of setting up the first TiE organization in Pakistan, in Lahore. And ever since then, we have had wonderful interaction with TiE International and also with TiE organizations around the world. And we have learned a great deal from them as to how to nurture and how to promote interaction between various software organizations. This is one of the very few organizations that I have come across that is so supportive of people who want to enter into this business. They don't look at a new entrant as a competitor. They look at the new entrant as a supporter. And this is something which is unique to TiE. And I want to compliment the founders to have laid such a wonderful tradition. Later on, I had the opportunity to visit the TiE office in Palo Alto. And there, what really touched me was that people who had made it in this industry or this business of software development, and they would volunteer their time to come to the office and nurture and mentor youngsters who were looking for guidance as to how they could develop their business, how they could nurture their business, how they could find support, both technical as well as financial. And this is something which is unique to Thai, and I hope other organizations who are emulating or working on the same basis as Thai around the world would do that. And you know, the 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 result of all this effort on behalf of by Thai and its members is that today, you know, you have tens of thousands of people around the world, and especially in our subcontinent, who, coming from very modest and humble background, have been able to break into better quality of life, bringing in new ideas, bringing in new technology, bringing in and helping the world uh, develop into a better place. So I'm a great admirer of Thai, and I'm very happy that Thai in Pakistan, under the leadership of Mazhar here, has made very good strides. And I'm also very happy that Faisal and Mr. Musaddiq and and Dr. Saab are there to support this cause. As far as my own journey in life is concerned, I was very fortunate to have been involved in business development. But let me just concentrate on my real passion, and that is education. Lahore University of Management Sciences, which is known as LUMS today, the short abbreviation of its name, has been there for almost over 30 years. We have graduated over 15,000 students, of whom at least 1,000 are working in North America, 1,000 in the rest of the world, and the balance of 13,000 are working in Pakistan. And what is really rewarding and what is very encouraging is that almost 60% of the students that come to LUMS are on financial aid. And we also spend a fair amount of effort in grooming and preparing students from the bottom of the pyramid all over the country. We start with a group of about 7,000 students coming from public sector schools, and we work with the school teachers to identify their bright students, and we work with them for at least 2 years before they are able to enter, before they are able to apply to LUMS for admission. And we support them not only technically but also financially. And of the 7,000, about 500 are brought to the campus every year for about a month as a boot camp to train them how to take the SAT and other entrance examinations, also how to evaluate them. And then finally, about 100 are able to make it, get admission. The criteria of admission is purely on merit. They have to compete with students who are paying fees. So there is no latitude given to these students. They have to compete. And I would say that so far, we started this about 20 years ago, this program, what we call National Outreach Program. And today we have over 500 students who have graduated, and another 500 are in the pipeline in the school itself. And it's so remarkable to see. I've been following the career of the students that I was able to support, and I've been in touch with them. I asked the school management to give me the list of the students that had availed of the scholarship, and there were 100 who were supported by my foundation, and 75 have graduated. Of the 75, 5 fell by the wayside, they didn't make it, but 70, I'm trying to reach out to them, and I'd only started this exercise a month ago, and I was very happy to get in touch with 30 of them, of whom half are already studying for the master's and PhD program abroad. And it's so heartening to see that people who came from villages from all over Pakistan were able to avail of this opportunity. And my belief is that God in His benevolence have not sort of been is been very gracious and generous in giving the bright minds to everybody in this world. It's not the kids of the rich, but it's the kids of the underprivileged. They are as bright. What we really want to do is to give them every opportunity to blossom and to take up to take the benefit of the facilities that might be available. So these few words, I'd like to, and I tell you that Thai relation with Thai, learning from Thai, interacting with the Thai members, both in the subcontinent and abroad, have been adding to my knowledge and have been encouraging me to embark on these journeys. So I wish Thai International all the success and all our gratitude for what they are doing to bring up talent both among the men and the women of the underprivileged world. Thank you very much.
Babar Saab, before we let you go, uh, we want to hear the story of when, as the youngest sibling, you were sent off to take care of a forest.
I am not aware of this particular story.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And
No, I'm very happy that, and of course, I've done my little bit in working in the area of conservation and preservation of
yeah.
nature in Pakistan. Thank
So
you.
the WWF period, right, and your honors in terms of the Order of the British Empire, your presidentship of the WWF, so that everything you've done so far, everything you've done in your life, has always been about the future generation, about preserving, right, what's there for the future. We'd like
Of
you to
course,
just touch on
of
that.
course. I mean, we we have borrowed whatever we have from the future generations, and we want to make sure that we leave to them something that we have inherited and a better thing than we started with. That's our responsibility.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Thank you very much. That was Sayyid Babar Ali Saab, the founder of the Thai chapter in Lahore, and he continues to be its patron also. So anytime any CM gets out of line, we just call Babar Saab and say, please bring him in line. And nobody in Pakistan can refuse Babar Saab. So we next move on to Dr. Amjad Saqib. Dr. Amjad Saqib, I always describe him as love itself. He is the founder and executive director of Ahuat, the word that actually means love, that means compassion, that means love for humanity. Dr. Amjad Saqib initiated Ahuat with a sum of 10,000 rupees. That is the first loan that he made to a widow to help her not just earn a living, but to live a life where she would have her own self-esteem. So what I like about Dr. Amjad is he says nothing is for free. Even when he is running his microfinance institution, and it is based on Islamic principles of zero interest. So here is a man who has set up an institution that has loaned almost around close to, I think, 90 billion now, because every month they loan out, they give out about 78,000 loans. So when you look at him and when you look at the way the institution has been developed and run, and he says nothing is for free. So the main value in that one statement is that everybody retains their self-respect. It is a loan that is given on soft terms. It helps them generate an income and pay back. And the most remarkable thing is that even though these loan recipients are literally at the bottom of the pyramid, they normally borrow anything between, let's say, $200 to $300. They pay back, right? The rate of failure is almost negligible. It's nothing. It's less than 1%. He will tell us more about it. But the more remarkable thing is that all these loan recipients actually become donors. They donate, right? Once they paid off their loan, they donate small sums of money back to the organization that has actually helped them. And that is what the remarkable story is. Ahua today is in 7 countries. It continues to build its portfolio. It is also forayed into education, building colleges and universities, where children who cannot normally afford education will be able to afford education. I think that will be the upstream for universities like LUMS, universities abroad, where these children, and some of them are the brightest, right? So we have multiple instances. Baba Saab also touched on it, that LUMS has 60% of them on financial aid, which means support and help for the brightest to be able to get the right kind of education. So, Dr. Saab, over to you.
Faisal Sherjan, you're always very kind and generous. I truly appreciate your kind words, and I'm extremely, lucky to sharing this, stage with a luminary like Sayyid Babar Ali, and then my great friend and philanthropist Musaddiq Sahib. So it's a great honor and privilege for me. But let me first thank the organizers, Thai Lahore chapter and the chapter in Hyderabad, for arranging this phenomenal summit. I'm sure it will give thousands of people the gift of hope during these testing times. Before I share more about my work, I would like to start from the basics and lay this question for everyone that, who is an entrepreneur? What does he do? And where does he come from? Is it a buzzword that has become an integral part of our vocabulary? Often there is a grand idea associated with this concept, and we instantly think of Bill Gates, Elon Musk of Tesla, or Jeff Bezos of Amazon. Is entrepreneurship restricted to the confines and grandeurs of Silicon Valley? Or does entrepreneurship spring in the narrow bazaars and lanes of Lahore, or in far-flung areas of an underdeveloped country in South Asia or in Africa? There are, multiple ways of defining entrepreneurship, but I would like to define an entrepreneur as someone who has a vision and the willingness to convert it into reality. So vision and implementation of the vision are of paramount importance. And together, these two factors become necessary ingredients for entrepreneurship. Allow me to narrate here the story of the largest social enterprise in interest-free financial sector for all of you. I'm sure it will, inspire many of us. The story of Akhuwat and its 4 million beneficiaries, a good number of whom are budding entrepreneurs, is known almost to everybody in Pakistan. But I will be very happy to share this story, which is the story of financial inclusion and social inclusion both. And it will tell us how small loans can make big difference in the lives of the poor people. Around 20 years ago, I was sitting in my office, and somebody knocked at the door opened, and entered a lady, a woman with tears in her eyes. She was apparently, disturbed. She sat in front of me and asked that, can I help her? So I asked her to tell that what is wrong and why does she need my help. So she told me that she is widow. She has lost her husband 2 days ago. She has 4 children, and she was extremely worried about their future. So she was not seeing light at the end of the tunnel, and she again asked me that she wants my support. But at the same time, she said that she doesn't believe in charity or in doles. She said that, can you give me a loan, a Qarz Hasan, a beneficent loan, the loan which I give to my friend or to my brother or to my sister, and don't take anything extra as the cost of capital. She said that she would like to purchase 2 sewing machines and start a business. And then out of the business, she was expecting a lot of profit, which could be used to, educate her children, and she could lead a very decent and respectable life. So I was encouraged to see the bravery and the hope in her eyes. So immediately we managed to, provide her 10,000 rupees, which is hardly $100 in those days. So she went away with that money. And once she left the office, I thought that she would never come back. But after 6 months, exactly, she proved me wrong. She was again sitting in front of me in the same office. And this time she was not disturbed. There were no tears in her eyes. She was brimming with hope and joy and happiness, and she was too confident. So smilingly, she told me that I would like to tell you that what did I do with your money which you gave me? And she then said that she purchased 2 sewing machines, worked hard, and as a result of that, she started earning money, and her children started having food at the end of the day, and she got them, registered and admitted in the schools. So after 6 months, she told me that now she has also managed to marry one of her daughters because of the income derived from that small enterprise. So I was amazed. But the further amazement and the further surprise came to me when she said that while she took out those 10,000 rupees from her wallet and said that, look, I'm giving back to you your money, but I will advise you that don't put this money back in your own pocket. Give it to somebody else, to some other family, to some other men and women who has not lost hope and who doesn't believe in charity and who believes in entrepreneurial journey. So that was a great news for me, that a lady doesn't, think only about herself, but she is also thinking about many other people. So that was a true glimpse and demonstration of leadership and courage and sharing with others. So that was a moment when we started thinking that if we have many 10,000 rupees, we can create a pool of money and utilize that pool of money by giving small loans to the poor people. And hence, without making them beggars, we can bring them on the journey of entrepreneurship and micro businesses. So after 20 years, when I look back, I'm amazed. The first loan has now turned into 4 million loans, and the 10,000 rupees, the journey which started with this paltry sum of money, has now 120 billion rupees have been distributed to these young men and women throughout Pakistan. So now, Alhamdulillah, it has become the world's largest interest-free microfinance program, and it is being read as case study in Harvard, Cambridge, and Oxford. And people, they are generally skeptical about Pakistan and Pakistan's role in international politics. So they are amazed to see that how compassionate this society is, which has been able to raise this great amount of money and share that money with the have-nots, with the underprivileged people who believe in dignity and who believe in making their own way out of poverty. So now we work in more than 400 cities in Pakistan. We have a workforce of 7,000 rupees. The whole organization is blend of necessary compensation and volunteerism. We have, few basic principles which comprise of interest-free lending and involvement of religious places, volunteerism, and an absolute non-discrimination. So these are a few, achievements, and we hope to take this message of compassion and interest-free lending and entering into the bond of solidarity with the less privileged to the world over. This is true picture of Islam, and these are the two values which we as Pakistanis stand for. But I would like here to tell you that people usually ask me that can this social enterprise, the Huwat itself, can be replicated in other areas of the world, in other parts of the country, of this world. So I tell them that this social enterprise is based on 3 assumptions. The assumption number 1 is that poor are trustworthy. they have entrepreneurial abilities and skills. They need support and friendship instead of charity to initiate business and come out of poverty. The assumption number two is thus that those who have an in abundance or those people who are rich, they are also willing to share their resources with poor and have-nots. Hence, there is no dearth of resources. The third assumption is that there must be a support organization which has experience, which has commitment, which has will to implement such entrepreneurial and voluntary model. So in any country, in any society, if these three basic assumptions are available, so an enterprise like a Hobart can be started, which could then further ignite and inspire millions of people and help them to become successful entrepreneurs and micro businessmen and businesswomen. These assumptions, after 17 years have now become a universal truth. Today, as I mentioned earlier, we have supported 3 million families who have taken 4 million loans, because some of the families, once payback, they need a further and enhanced amount of money to grow. And true, evidence of micro of entrepreneurship is not only to start a new idea and start a new business, but seeking growth and expansion and taking this whole enterprise to new levels. So that's how these 3 million people, some of them take second loan, third loan, fourth loan, and not only do their business themselves, but they employ 2, 3, 4 people as well. So currently 42% of our borrowers are female and 58% are males. So that also speaks that entrepreneurship is not confined to any gender. So if given support and if nurtured, these young men and women can also make a great difference in their lives, and hence they can cause increased productivity and be a very useful member of the society. Hoover's loan recovery will definitely surprise you. It is 99.9%. So that speaks that if you create a model which is based on volunteerism, compassion, and love for others, and you don't act merely on market principles and abide by the Islamic Sharia principles, so you can help people not only to come out of poverty, but they are so trustworthy, creditworthy, and bankworthy that they return this amount at the rate of 99.9%. And another dimension of this whole enterprise is that all those people who get these loans, they also think of becoming donors. So you will be too happy to know that more than 60% of our borrowers start giving back to the society, giving back to this organization, and their tiny donations become the part of our larger credit pool, and that helps us to serve more people. So this is briefly the story. This is the story of an enterprise which started with very few thousand rupees, and obviously it inspired 3 million new businesses, and a large number of those businesses have the potential to grow and grow throughout Pakistan. So to conclude, at the end, I would like to share a few words with the budding entrepreneurs, the young men and women who are here to listen to our personal lessons and journeys revolving around entrepreneurship. And before you take this plunge of entrepreneurial journey, I would first advise you that you discover your strengths and weaknesses, and then you start your journey for this self-actualization. And my conclusion is that an entrepreneur, first and foremost, should have the ability to conceive an idea. And then he will structure that idea in the form of an organization. Number 3, then he will go and find resources, and then he will be willing to take calculated risks. This risk is extremely a great ability, because entrepreneurial journey can't be so smooth. It always is running through the risks. Then the entrepreneur is keen to grow and expand his or her business. He doesn't confine to just one point or one area, but he believes in expansion and growth. He welcomes change. This is very important, that he is not averse to change. He's not averse to innovation. He believes in creativity, and he welcomes any challenge as an opportunity. And then this current COVID crisis has also taught us this great lesson that an entrepreneur must have the ability and capacity to understand technology, and he should be willing to incorporate technology in his all business methodology. So he also believes in team. So team building, and as a leader, he should be humility and the compassion. It should be the very necessary traits for him or her, because true leader always demonstrates humility and compassion with others. So let me again come to my final remarks. Throughout last 20-30 years, I have spent around 20 years with the public sector. I was a civil servant in Pakistan, but then later on I realized that my best abilities can only be utilized outside the government, because bureaucracy, as you all know, is subservient to rules and regulations. There is no space for innovation, and it restricts your overall ambitions and the vision. So I think that if it's only when you have a vision and then you are able to identify your true potential, that you will be able to provide an innovative solution for the whole society. A true entrepreneur doesn't work in isolation. He reaches his mission and achieves sustainable growth only when he works with his team. And during this effort, he is undeterred, and he works with relentless courage and passion. So that is the best way to serve the nation, to serve the society, and to actualize one's own dreams. So this is very briefly what I wanted to say, and I begin with my profound thanks to the Thai people and to the organizers. And I truly feel overwhelmed by the presence of luminary like Babar Ali Saab, who has always been a beacon of light for hundreds and thousands of the people. And of course, the people like Musaddiq Saab, because he always believes in giving. Whatever he earns, he wants to share it with the less privileged and underdeveloped people. So my mission, the whole passion revolved around the Hoover, and I'm not sure how many the audience are Urdu speaking or English speaking, but I would like to say one verse in Urdu, that this whole entrepreneurial journey is like a passion, and in Urdu we say it ishq. बाबर अली साहब इस बात को जानते हैं कि इश्क क्या होता है, और ये इश्क कैसे दुनिया को बदलता है, और कैसे सहराओं में फूल खिलाता है, और कैसे जिंदगी को खूबसूरत बनाता है। और इश्क के बारे में भी ये कहा जाता है कि ये इश्क नहीं आसान, बस इतना समझ लीजिए एक आग का दरिया है और डूब के जाना है। तो अगर आग के दरिया में डूब कर जाने की ख्वाहिश हो, तो फिर आप इस सफ़र पर आमादा हों, फिर आप इस मैदान पुरखार में निकलें, फिर आप इन बुलंदियों और गहराइयों को नापने की कोशिश करें। अगर आपके अंदर इश्क नहीं है और कोई शय, कोई जुस्तजू, कोई आरजू, कोई तमन्ना, कोई ख्वाब आपको हमा वक्त बेदार नहीं करता, तो फिर ये काम नहीं हो सकता। वो इकबाल ने भी कहा है कि खुदा तुझे किसी तूफान से आशना कर दे कि तेरे बहर की मौजों में इज़्तिराब नहीं। दिस रेस्टलेसनेस एंड दिस जो इज़्तिराब का जो लफ्ज़ है, और ये जो बेचैनी और बेकसी है, और ये जो ख्वाहिश है कि ख्वाब सिर्फ मेरे नहीं औरों के भी हैं, खुशियाँ सिर्फ मेरी नहीं औरों की भी हैं, मुझे सिर्फ अपनी ज़िंदगी के हिसार में मुक़य्यद नहीं रहना, बल्कि मुझे किसी और के भी आंसू पूंछने हैं, किसी और के सर पर भी हाथ रखना है, किसी और का आंचल भी बनना है। तभी ये दुनिया खूबसूरत होगी, तभी एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप का जो सफ़र है वो अपनी मंजिल पर पहुंचेगा। और तभी इंसान जो खुदा का एक नायब है वो इस काबिल होगा कि जब वो खुदा के हुजूर पेश हो और अपना नामा अमाल पेश करे तो कुछ ये फूल भी पेश करे उसको कि मैंने ये तुम्हारी दुनिया में ये काम किया है। और वो इकबाल का फिर शेर मुझे याद आता है कि रोज़े हिसाब पेश हो जब मेरा दफ्तर अमल, आप भी शर्मसार हो मुझको भी शर्मसार कर। तो ये उस लम्हे की शर्मसारी से बचने का नाम है एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप। Thank you very much, sir. And I have nothing but appreciation for the organization. God
So
bless.
before you go, one aspect I wanted you to touch on about Ahwat, you use mosques, churches, mandirs, and gurdwaras as your offices, right? We'd like to hear about that.
Yeah, that is Faisal Saab. We believe in inclusive society. We believe in participation. We believe in accountability and transparency. You know, by isolating the religious places, we cannot achieve the development objectives in a society like Pakistan, where faith plays a very, very important role. So we derive inspiration from the Islamic spirit of solidarity, but our messages for the entire humankind, we don't discriminate on the basis of caste, color, religion, or creed. So by using these religious places, not only we have brought our the costs down, we have achieved more efficiency, but we have also been able to bridge the gap between different sections of society. So that has given us great impetus, and it has become more inclusive. And in rural areas, far-flung areas, it's very easy to bring people to an institution which is already has its own significance.
So there is a question for you from the audience. They want to know what is your source of funds? Where do you get the funds from to be able to, give out loans worth 120 billion? I can't even keep pace with you. By the time I think and say it's now 80 billion, now it's 90 billion, you've crossed 100 billion. So what is the source of funds? Where do the funds come from?
And let me tell you one ayat of Quran before answering the question. That says that Allah Ta'ala sood ko ghatata hai aur sadqe ko badhata hai. So the moment we are giving more money, so that it speaks that God increases your sadaqats, your givings. So our source of funding are twofold. Number one is the individual and the civil society. You as Faisal Shah Jahan, if believe in sharing, believe in solidarity, and if believe in adopting a poor family to support him or her to come out of poverty, you give us donations. Then there are corporate entities, and then there are other voluntary organizations. So one stream of our donations is civil society, and the other is that we are working in partnership with the government as well. We are working with the Punjab government, with KP government, with the GB government, with AJK, with Sindh and Balochistan. So we have been, the true success of a civil society organization is to create a model. Once the model is created, then that model is taken to scale either by private sector or by public sector. So we were able to create a model in 10 years that this interest-free lending can make a true difference in the life of a poor people. So government adopted this model, and government also created similar funds, and then selected Ahwat as an agent to implement those funds. So we are running government programs as well, and we are running the programs which we are the custodian of that money. And the basic principles of those both types of programs are the same: interest-free loans, volunteerism, converting borrowers into donors, and then use of religious places, and then of course non-discrimination. There is absolutely no discrimination on the basis of caste.
Thank you,
religion.
Dr. Saab. So next we have Mr. Musaddiq Zulkarnain. Musaddiq Saab has a very interesting career trajectory also. So he's an engineer from the University of Engineering and Technology in Lahore. I remember in the 70s, it used to be the Mogulpura Institute of Technology, and we used to call it our own MIT. So from there on, as an engineer, he had a very illustrious career with the Sui Gas company, one of the largest utilities in Pakistan, which is the Sui Northern Gas. And from there on, right, he rose to the position of a general manager, which was pretty senior within the SNGPL hierarchy, and then decided that he wanted to do something entirely different. So he decided that he's going to set up his own business, and that is how Interloop came into existence. That is how it was conceived. That is how it started off its journey. Today, Interloop is one of the largest textile units in Pakistan. It makes socks. And from what I can remember, 4% of all world production is done by Interloop. So it has a huge footprint all over the world. But it hasn't stopped there. Recently, Mr. Musaddiq Zulkarnain has signed a joint venture with a Turkish company, and he's going to produce cheese. So we've heard of chalk and cheese. In this case, it's socks and cheese. So we want to hear what Musaddiq Zulkarnain's journey has been like, and what does he have to school our young entrepreneurs listening to this conversation from all over the world would like to see. So can we please have Mr. Musaddiq Zulkarnain on screen? Assalamualaikum, Musaddiq Saab. The screen is yours.
Thank you, Faisal. Thank you. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, namaste, sat sri akal, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. As Babar Sahab said, I think people from all over the world are joining in to listen to these wonderful sessions arranged by TI Global, and I would like to congratulate them and thank them, and also TI Lahore for arranging all this. Speaking after towering personalities like Babar Sahab, and the work which Dr. Amjad has done, I think is really very difficult. But I would try to present another aspect for the young budding entrepreneurs. That how can you grow to the top of a business with integrity and ethics? And also, what are the ingredients for a and sustainable growth in business? Unfortunately, I know there must be a lot of joiners from North America and other parts, but I think in the third world, the youngsters have been given an idea that if you try to follow ethics, you want to be ethical, it's very difficult and it's impossible to grow your business or to do any business at all. I just want to undo that idea and that myth. And to do that, I'll go through, first of all, briefly, how we started, where we are, and then why we reached this place. And I'll give you the proof of the pudding also by giving you what we have achieved. A small correction, which Faisal, I think he was very kind to give a rundown about my career. I never reached the level of manager. I resigned much earlier than that in Sweden, so I don't want to claim that high position. But to come back to where we started this enterprise in 1992 with an amount of around $360,000, myself and my brother and another friend. We had no experience whatsoever of any business, not even in the immediate family. So today, due to the efforts of our team and the way we proceeded, and by the grace of God, of course, we are one of the largest manufacturers of hosiery in the world, and not just the largest, we are one of the best. That is what I'm more proud of. During the process, socks will always remain our core business and the heart of what we do, because that's where we started, that's where we are known. But we have added multiple other textile categories. We do produce multiple type of man-made and cotton yarns. We have ventured into denim, and we have one of the most sustainable denim manufacturing unit now in operation. We are into knitwear, we are into seamless garments, and as Faisal mentioned, we have diversified into other businesses. We have one of the best dairy farms in Pakistan. We have gone into a cheese production, which is in fact today in trial production with a Chinese, with a Turkish firm. We have ventured into logistics. We have started a logistics firm. We have started a digital company as well. We have started a packaging company as well. We have entered into joint ventures with one of the top hospitals in Pakistan to establish 2 new hospitals, one in the place where I live, and I love to call it Lalpur, but mostly it's known as Faisalabad, but people across India knows it as Lalpur, and I call it Lalpur always, and I will keep calling it, and one in Islamabad. This is just to give you the extent what we have achieved during these 28 years. One more thing, last year, we decided that our textile concern, we should go public and launch it on the stock exchange. The basic purpose was to, not only share the prosperity of the company, but also, bring in more strict corporate governance upon ourselves. So again, by the grace of God, our IPO last year was the largest private sector IPO in the history of Pakistan. It still remains the largest IPO in the history of Pakistan. At that time, we became the second largest textile company by market cap. But today, Interloop is the largest textile company on Pakistan Stock Exchange by market capitalization. And interestingly, the second company is 43%, the market cap is 43% behind Interloop. There's a reason why I am giving you these figures, and I'll come to that reason towards the end. Now, we today operate in 7 countries. We employ a team of about 25,000 people, which come from 15 nationalities. When we started the business, shortly after that, we decided that there has to be a purpose. And the business we should be a business for purpose. And at that time, I would say this concept was not really very, very common for commercial businesses. Now it's becoming much more acceptable, even in the Western world, that even a commercial business can be a business for purpose. And especially for a business which is a B2B business, being business for purpose has no commercial value as such, it appears, because you don't deal with the customers directly. But Interloop decided to be a business for purpose, and that's where we devised our mission, which was to be an agent of positive change for the stakeholders and community by pursuing an ethical and sustainable business. And that is what we have been trying to do in all our businesses. And when we say sustainability, we picked up the triple P bottom line sustainability. So today we are not just looking after the shareholders' profits. We are looking for the profits of the entire stakeholders. It's the planet, it's the people, it's the prosperity for everybody. That's what we are trying to do. And in order to do that, we have devised several programs. We have been, each and every business decision which we do is taken under this umbrella. Each and every, and for the philanthropy and for the CSR, we have a structured program. We have even on our own voluntarily subscribed to the 9 Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. And by doing that, we have been able to, we have taken several measures in our plants across Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and Bangladesh, where we manufacture goods. And we have been able to save millions and millions of gallons of water. We have brought down our greenhouse gas emissions. We have already reached a level of 50% sustainable raw materials in our production. So this is briefly what we are doing about the planet, what we are doing about the people. There are 2 types of people: the people who work for Interloop and its subsidiaries and its associates, and then there are people who live around us.
Sadiq, I hate to interrupt you, but we are just coming to the close of the session. So we've got a couple of minutes for you to wind up.
Okay, good. So I would say I said the proof of the pudding is that today, as I said, Interloop is the largest company on the stock exchange by market cap. We don't have, amongst the textile companies, we are not the largest. We don't have the largest turnover. We don't have the largest profits, bottom line. I believe that the stock market even believes in a company which believes in sustainability, which believes in the larger good for the planet, for the people, and which believes in an ethical company. That's why the difference between the first company and the second company is so big. So my only lesson, and because I've been asked to cut down my talk, I think my only appeal to the budding entrepreneurs is that stay your course, have a purpose for your business, and determine the measure of success. The measure of success is being ethical and being sustainable in the sense that you have to look after the stakeholders, and then you go back to bed when you sleep with a clean conscience. The economy with conscience is what I would request everybody to follow. Thank you, Faisal.
Thank you, Musaddiq Saab. That was wonderful. So I've had an immense privilege, and it's been a lot of fun. It's been very important to listen to Babar Saab, to listen to Dr. Amjad Saqib, to listen to Mr. Zulkarnain. We have the paucity of time. We could possibly go on for another 2 hours with this illustrious panel. There'd be so many questions I'd be asking, and there'd be so much we need to know from them. But unfortunately, we do have time limitations, and we are trying to stick to them and make sure that all the sessions end on time and the next one starts on time. Thank you once again for this wonderful panel, Dr. Amjad Saqib, Sayyid Babar Ali Saab, and Musaddiq Saab. It's a pleasure to listen to you always, Musaddiq Saab, and I hope I will have the privilege again. Thank you very much. A panel of 3 very illustrious speakers, 3 people who have immense value that they bring to any platform, to any forum. I've had the privilege of knowing all 3 of them. You've heard them, and if there's anything that you would want to know from any one of them, we will be very happy to assist you. Thank you very much. I think, Hazel, you need to take it away.